Warhammer. My name's Mark. It's weird doing this. I miss Eric already.
It's alright, we got someone much better than Eric. Don't you fucking worry for a second, mate.
Oh my god, we got Big
Eric.
D Dylan with us.
No, I can be Eric. It's cool. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Eric. I sound like Kermit the Frog. I'm just, it's got...
It's a bang-on impersonation.
Lorehammer.
Throwing a couple of those stray touches.
Is that close? I can touch everybody. That's not hard for me. I've got pretty long arms.
So we got Dylan with us. We also got two other people that have never been on the podcast. We got B, and we also got Natalie.
Hello, hello.
That's B.
Hola, hola.
And that's Natalie.
Holy shit.
Holy shit, there's two women in the studio.
Is that the most? I have to ask you. Like, is there any
Not
point
only in the
time-
studio, but also just around me. That's the most.
Ever spoken to you at one time?
Yeah, exactly.
Things are about to get wild for you tonight.
How much are you guys getting paid to be here?
I'm under contract. NDA.
I'm just an
Locked and
ambassador
sealed.
for Big D's warband.
Oh, see, I've trained her well. Not hard at all. How's it going, guys? Welcome to Warhammer.
Yeah. So this episode, it's a bonus episode. These two have never heard anything about 40K. And B's always like, what the fuck are you doing all the time? I'm like, I'm just playing with my toys. So I'm going to try to explain what is 40K.
No. We'll just punish their ignorance.
Ah.
We'll shame them for the things they
Yes.
don't know.
Go to the other side of the garage,
Yeah.
grab my flogging whip.
Yep.
Never
And,
letting you paint your models again.
So excited.
Does that include you?
Whoa.
This one was
Spicy.
getting weird.
I like it.
40K? What the fuck is that? Is that
so-
a thing that we do here? Is that
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to break down it, and then the job of you two is when I say something interesting or that you want more information on, say use your language, talk.
Speak.
That's all right.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll
speak.
find anything interesting.
Well, it's gonna be okay. So it's gonna be an hour of me rambling.
Lots
to
of
Dylan.
confusing
Sounds
things.
alright.
Not
Yeah.
so sure about the
Words we
interest.
can't pronounce.
Yeah.
Okay, so
say
let's
the
start
least.
off. 40K.
40K.
Do you know why it's called 40K?
I have always been confused
Okay.
because
I
Warhammer...
also have never known. I'm like, okay, so it's a numbers and letters.
Hold on, can we just say, like, what do you know? What,
40,000.
If you had to describe what 40K is, what do you think it
40,000.
is?
It's a fantasy tabletop game where you paint little models and you. Oh, I moved them an inch forward, and then the next guy does.
Your
more
voice
stuff.
is very condescending.
Hey, I do dumb things too.
So we're all in this together now.
We all have our own interests.
What about the
yes.
story of Warhammer, the universe? Do you have any conception of what it is? Like, if you had to describe it to someone who has no idea, for example, each other,
Okay,
how
well,
would you do it?
How I would describe what I think I know of the game
Yeah.
is that it's a strategy game,
Yeah.
essentially like Risk.
The universe, the story itself.
Okay, well, if we're talking about the universe,
Yeah.
all I know is from helping you research your podcast, which is there are orcs who make weird blorbing noises.
It's like science fiction, right?
It's
It is
science-fi
fiction.
would
And
be the
there
better
are, like,
term.
Space
Is that not the
marine
same?
guys. I know that.
Space Marine guys, is that what we said?
Yeah, there's space marine guys.
Yeah, what's a Space Marine?
God.
Just
Like
a
Star
dude
Trek.
with a lot of armor on.
Okay, so basically
Marines
what
for
I've
space.
gathered is neither of you know nothing
There's
about
something about a
40K.
Sith Lord.
Oh
No,
my
it's Star Wars.
Oh my
Oh no,
God.
what's
Star
the name
Wars.
again? What's the name
I
again?
think you just cost Warhammer thousands of dollars. I don't think we should be here. You're talking of not Sith.
Slanesh or something?
Slanesh,
Slanesh.
yeah, you get those so
Slanesh.
confused sometimes, which can be easy to confuse, to be fair.
Slanesh is- yeah.
Okay, well,
Well, I think we're fucked. There's no real hope going from here.
yeah. At least I know I won't run out of topics to talk about with them because they
That is true.
literally know
No, nothing.
nothing.
We got
Yeah.
your back.
So let's start out why it's called Warhammer 40K. So
Yeah.
Warhammer 40K stands for Warhammer. It originally was a fantasy game. We don't need to know about
Nothing
that.
to do with Thor.
No.
Cool.
Okay.
No.
More hammers and building things.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
ter-
This, well, I mean, yeah.
40K is
Not strictly, no.
40K is a futuristic sci-fi setting set in the year 40,000, hence 40K.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
That
it
makes
is.
Both of us at the same time. Oh.
Yeah. So you're
Like all
saying the
coming
setting, the
together.
year, the date, and it is a universe set in our universe. So there is actually an Earth. There is a Mars. It's set in the Milky Way galaxy.
Do humans know about the other people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I'm assuming that humans evolved spacecraft technology,
Yeah,
went
exactly.
outward, expanded outward, maybe
Yeah.
Earth is now like a ruined version of itself.
Yeah, Earth still exists, and it's actually a beautiful place.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, yeah,
Really?
pristine.
Pretty
I
sanctimonious.
doubt it.
No. So I'm going to talk about
This is confusing.
I'm going to talk about a couple key features about 40K before we get into like more of the story.
building.
Yeah. So a couple key features that I really enjoy about 40K is it's very open-ended. So you're allowed to make your own story, and you're allowed to do kind of a lot of different things, and it really allows your creativity to show through. So lots of people who do the hobby, like that's what they like. Like, you know, Dylan makes his own stuff. I make my own like army lore and all that kind of stuff.
And these are all the little minion things. Right?
Yeah, like all that kind of stuff.
And it's
A
very,
little
it seems
plastic
very
army man.
multifaceted because it
Yeah.
seems like a board game. It seems like art.
Yeah, there's books, there's movies, there's video
Yeah.
games. It's all types of things for sure.
So you can be into any different.
Is this
sector.
bigger than the porn industry?
I
guys
don't
think
I
Is
watch
there
a lot of
40K
porn.
I don't think anything's bigger than
there
porn.
Is
Yeah.
there like fuck that
Hold on.
work
never
porn?
Googled it,
Let's
but-
go
40K
ahead and
porn. 40K porn.
That's incredible.
let's see what pops up here.
New business venture.
We
There you
have
go.
40K porn videos.
Wow.
Pornhub. Holy shit, this is a thing.
Incredible.
We're about to educate ourselves. Pornhub is learning, and we have Warhammer 40K hentai arts compilation.
This
We
is,
have Inquisitor gets skull fucked by two demigods. We have
Okay, not the direction I thought this
I would
podcast
like to
was
just
going.
put out.
cute
Can
gamer
you,
girl
can you
playing
favorite that
Warhammer.
page though?
I can definitely save this for later.
Thank you.
Cute gamer girl playing Warhammer Total War, giving the guy.
Oh, okay,
ignoring the
okay,
guy.
okay.
All right. Should I click one of these?
No, I don't think you should. I think
I don't see a Space Marine get banged.
Is this
I
family
would
friendly?
like to put out a
yeah.
verbal cry to the listeners to please send in big D warband porn. Just send in your own submissions,
Apparently it's a
please,
hit.
to Let's
yeah.
Talk.
I love that that's the only thing you know about 40K, which is my warband, which is correct, by the way.
I just know we're stealing your audience.
What a plug.
Train you
Yeah.
well.
So that's one of the things I really like about 40K is it's a very good creative outlet, and it's multifaceted. Like you said, there's books, there's movies, there's video games, there's all types of things. So
That's why I can see you could get into it because there's
Yeah.
so many different like
Get your
whatever
girlfriend
you like about
into it. Get your wife
yeah,
into it.
exactly.
Oh, yeah, all your friends.
All your friends.
Don't just go
The
make
other
friends.
thing I really like about 40K is everything is fucking over the top. So instead of having machine guns, you have missile launcher machine guns. Like everything is, you don't just have a tiny explosion.
Like your lilac stormtrooper thingy.
Yeah.
Not
I'm
her
sorry,
fault.
I'm meshing
Lilac.
worlds.
The thing she's referring to here on the studio shelf is it's a gunship, right?
yeah, Storm Raven.
So it's
But it's
Storm Eagle.
lilac. and
it's
I really like
cast,
that.
so it's unpainted, and the cast of it is a lilac purple. And the first thing Natalie saw when she sees it is like, oh, that's a pretty color, and it's completely unpainted.
Yeah, I like that she painted it like that.
I like that it's lilac. I thought that was cool. A big lilac.
Yeah, well, it's gonna have a lot more
Yeah.
detail. And
So that just means you've got to do one in that.
Yeah, that's true.
there you go. You found your
some
40.
lilac.
Painted and ready.
So everything is dialed up to 11.
Yeah.
You know, they have super soldiers that, aren't only faster, stronger, and bigger than anything in any other sci-fi setting. Like, it's just everything is over the top. They don't blow up cities, they blow up planets for fun. Everything is just to the extreme every time.
It's dialed up to 11. Yeah, it doesn't get better than 40K, which is kind of like it's both makes it really gritty and heavy and insane, but also makes it kind of comical in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a comical aspect
Yeah.
because it goes that far over the top
Yeah.
sometimes, where it's just like, what?
Yeah, 40K is absurd, if nothing
Yeah.
else.
Can
It's
I interrupt
ridiculous.
for a sec?
Yeah.
So you said that you can create your own stories.
Yeah.
Do you write them down to keep track of it, or
Oh, yeah.
how do you
Oh, yeah.
handle
Oh, yeah.
this?
Yeah, well, okay, so lore refers to, like, story, right?
Right.
And obviously, he's the king of lore, so the whole podcast is about talking about the stories of Warhammer. But absolutely, does Mark create own stories about the armies that's painted.
So-
he's built entire armies, he's painted them, then he's made a story or a narrative behind about why they exist, who these characters are, all that kind of stuff. That's how deep the nerd level goes.
And the stories are just like the history of
Yeah.
whatever planet.
It
or
could be a
whatever thing you're
history or
painting.
a battle that you took part in, or it could even just be about something like a nitty underground beat cop who's trying to find a cultist.
Yeah.
It can literally be anything.
Just some
'Cause
kind of origin story, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the nice thing about 40K is it's also so huge that you can literally write about anything. And even like the Imperium of Man, which is the main faction and like the human faction in 40K, you have different planets. One could be a world like our world, and others could be a medieval style world, and another one could be this super advanced sci-fi
So what happens
setting.
all
when
in
you
the
go to
same
the
universe.
medieval
It
world
all in
with
this-
the big guns?
Yeah, sometimes they do have that. Like it because it's comical and like
think of like Rick and Morty. You know how they use that trick where they go to any dimension and because anything can happen.
Right.
40K is a little like that. There's a world out there somewhere that has something the thing you're thinking of exists.
Is time the same? Is time measured the same?
Yeah.
Yep.
So would it take a light year to get to?
Is it fast
Yeah.
for them to
The
travel?
physics is still the same, more or less.
yeah, so traveling is done a number of different ways,
Yeah.
but it's pretty wild. So there's this thing called the warp, and
Oh,
it's
here we go.
It's a parallel dimension, and it's a huge fucking topic. But
I don't have to understand it. I just
Yeah.
need to know that it
How
works.
do you,
You
simply
can-
describe the warp?
It's
like-
parallel-
It's like an ocean, right?
yeah, it's like an ocean.
like an
but
ocean. It's like-
it's a parallel dimension that feeds off of sentient creatures' emotions, and then the energies will like kind of pool and create like gods in this other reality, and they also use it for warp travel because they'll jump into it and then they fling across the galaxy. It's a whole big fucking thing. We could talk about it for 8 hours just about that.
But the warp is one of the coolest things about 40K because it's like, it's kind of dictates the entire universe. It's just this other plane that exists that we're all somehow connected to, and we're all our emotions and spirits and quote unquote souls is connected to it. And there's people that are so like magically inclined, let's say, that they can kind of tap into that and harness greater powers and also use it for things like transportation or communication, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the warp bites back. The warp itself is kind of its own roaring ocean of energies that will sometimes like fuck planets up or
Yeah,
Can you take
open up.
somebody else's power?
well, there's some beings that live in this space, similar to think like demons that might live in hell or something, like some other plane. And sometimes they can connect and communicate with people in our plane.
So can I create an army that has the ability to take a power and then just fuck everybody up?
You could, but you wouldn't want to. So here's one of the things when writing. You don't want to be a Mary Sue character. You don't want to create these all-powerful things. Part of the thing about 40K is it's a grimdark setting, and there's never a happy ending.
Oh.
So this is
I
another...
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
That's fun.
the whole setting
dark
is
as
kind of backwards and grim, and even your heroes don't get attached to them if you're reading a book, because guaranteed they're gonna die at the end of that book. 9 times out of 10.
You don't want me to make Game of Thrones references?
No, you can make whatever you want. I have the mute button power, so like whatever you say, it's fine.
Like the whole first season.
It's a little heretical, but I guess we'll let it fly for this time. It's fine.
So far, I've referenced 2 other fantasy worlds.
No, I mean, you got frames of reference, right? Game of Thrones, there
Yeah.
might be some things that apply. Probably not much, though, to be honest.
Well, I just mean that don't get attached to your heroes.
Well, the Game of Thrones world could be a world that exists in 40K, and then maybe one day Space Marines drop in and have a visit.
Yeah.
So there are like different sects, right? Like there are the Space Marines and there are ogres. Do they all live on like the same areas, or like do they have their own planets?
So, how do you even respond to that?
yeah, so like different.
I just asked something really dumb. Apparently,
It's a rich and deep universe filled with many, many races of beings. Humans are one of those races, humanity.
diversity, yeah.
But then you get things like ogres or orcs or other chaos beings
and
or
do they all
alien
believe
races.
in the same gods? Because I know that there's like
Is there any kind of religion in
yeah,
there?
there
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So this is another
we go.
crazy facet of 40K. For most of them, normally in sci-fi settings, like think of Star Trek. It's like enlightened people all working together for a common good, the power of science. But in 40K, it's very religious, and it's super crazy because once again, they dial everything up to 11. So they have like priests who are preaching their, about the emperor or whatever. But the best way to do that is with a chainsword in your hand and by going out and killing heretics.
Yeah.
That's the best way to preach the good word of the emperor. Everything is
Again,
very
very Game of Thrones-y.
extreme.
Think the Crusades, but turned up to 1 million.
Yeah.
Worldwide crusades that are constantly going, and everything's in the name of their god, who's called the Emperor.
That's so funny. I'm just thinking flashbacks to church when I was younger.
Oh yeah.
It's that, but like way more violent.
Yeah.
Way more
You
violent.
should pull up like a picture of like I don't know, like 40K Citadel or something. I don't know.
Okay, that's gonna come up with like Citadel images.
Yeah. I don't know.
So then, if you were to pick the lowest of the lows, who would you pick, and the highest of the heroes, or whatever? Who would you pick?
So the thing about 40K is they don't tier stuff like that. There is no all-powerful thing, and there is no lowest
No, what
thing.
about
Like,
evil and good?
there is no evil or good. Everything is basically bad, or at best, a shade of gray.
What's your best shade of gray?
yeah.
I don't know, just like the Tau, probably.
So, like,
so the Tau are like a new race in the galaxy. They're relatively young. Like they've only been spacefaring for like 2,000 years. And in a galaxy 60 million years old, it's relatively new. But they believe in like actually going and making alliances with other races and working together towards like the greater good of the galaxy. Where most other races, they see another race and they just fucking try to wipe it out.
So interesting.
So they would be a great, but because even them, the way they go about it, it can be pretty sketchy sometimes. Like, yeah, you can join us or we could kill you. You know, like.
I mean, the way you kind of have to be when every other race is just fucking everybody up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are some races out there like the orcs where you can't reason with them.
Yeah.
They're these big, crazy, green, hulking brutes that just enjoy violence.
Yeah, they're like, you've seen Mad Max.
And that's your
It's
favorite?
like if those were if those are basically orcs. They're like crazy. I mean, this is looking at Marines, but like orcs, like they're basically just crazy. They're constantly drunk and fighting with themselves. They're technically like a fungus, or is that true? I guess where they kind of just infecting the galaxy in that way, but they don't care about a higher power necessarily. They just want to kind of have good food, fight all the time. And in fact, they're constantly fighting with themselves. So if they unify, they can actually take over the galaxy.
Go
ahead. No, go ahead.
Does each race have a leader?
No.
Not one leader. So obviously you're talking about the expansive entire like solar system essentially. Or
well, I don't
universe.
know. In
So like
Lord of the Rings, they have a leader guy.
So there are notable characters.
There are notable characters,
Yeah.
but 40K as a setting, it's not a story. It's not about specific characters and what they do. It's about kind of you creating your own thing with this setting that they've already laid out for you. So here's a picture up there in the top right. That is a picture of the Emperor of Mankind. So that is the leader of humanity, but at the same time, he's not really...
Because humanity is so small.
No, it's so large, but like he can't be everywhere at
I
once.
see.
Like you can't control everything because we're talking about a galactic setting here.
Yeah.
So anything you can think of has happened, can happen, whatever. You could have orcs allying with humans on some backwater world somewhere far out in the middle of nowhere, right? With their own leaders, and you know they might not even know about the galaxy as a whole. Anything's kind of possible. So yeah, when you ask about like the leaders of factions, it's very rare that you actually have a united faction with one leader actually fully in charge of everything.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So we've talked about Tau. So they're kind of this upstart race. We talked about orcs. This is
What
a picture of
about
an orc.
The Slanesh, is that what it is, baby?
So that's an orc. Yeah, so that's getting onto the greater heretical powers. There's an orc. So obviously it's like, don't think Lord of the Rings, think you probably don't.
Yeah,
you
that
don't know
looks nothing
Warcraft.
like Lord.
Yeah, so these are giant like 8-9 foot tall hulking masses that
And is that metal?
just drink and party. Yeah, so they cover themselves with, like power armor, and
it's
like I
not
said,
a
all they do
robot.
is fight. They just run into somewhere and they just like a good fight. They're pretty impervious to pain. And they're really funny. They're really silly. But they're also like horrific beasts that can like fuck you up. But that's just one of the many factions. Like the Tau one that Mark was talking about. They're kind of like, what would be a comparison? They're kind of your traditional sci-fi race, except they're alien. They're not human. Where
And all their stuff looks super sci-fi, like clean, slick lines. Where a lot of the rest of 40K, if you see some of those pictures over there, like you see kind of very dark, like wires, like people are like scarred up,
Like
kind of.
obviously been through battle.
Yeah, exactly. But the Tower are very like clean and hopeful.
Okay. Interesting.
Another major race is they're called the Necron. So they're these robots, and their kind of story is they're one of the oldest races in the galaxy. So 60 million years ago, they were humanoid, and they ended up selling their souls to this all-powerful like star god essentially who can manipulate reality. But they were bamboozled, and now they're trapped in these metal bodies and.
Oh, poor
Yeah,
guys.
most of them are not even aware of like who they are, where only like the rulers and stuff are actually hold on to any semblance of their personality.
So just like slaves.
yeah,
essentially, yeah. So each of these
got
races
God.
has kind of a real world parallel. Like there's things that exist in
All
pop culture
powerful
you could
beings that
compare
are
them to.
disgusting.
So these would be like, the Terminator.
Okay, so
fuck
you-
that. They're nothing like Terminator.
Oh.
I hate that reference.
You don't like that reference? Why?
no,
Why
because
hate
they're
the
nothing.
comparison?
They're nothing like Terminator.
I mean, I guess. No,
Like-
you're actually right. They also have this
Like
some-
that. Yeah, sure. They're both metal robots.
Yeah, that's
all.
That's
but-
about. No, you're correct. That is
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Okay,
But-
so to a layman, we've
Yeah.
kind of already set up that this is a futuristic space colony, terraforming, all that kind of craziness.
That has the capacity for anything.
How many
ever.
different races are there? Like, what's the
So-
general storyline?
There is no storyline. It's a setting. So there is no story.
I create my own story.
You create your own story. There are stories in the setting that Games Workshop has written, but it doesn't progress an overall plot. You can have a story about one character on a specific planet, but that does not have galaxy changing
No, I
impacts.
understand that.
So
And then how relevant is your story when you're actually on the board playing with somebody?
depends on, like, for me, I try to really tie in like my army to what I'm doing. So I have some characters in the game that I'm actually trying to do specific things with them. So I'll try to like progress them through certain ranks or do certain things with them that is only in my head. So it can be as relevant as you want it.
But you don't narrate this throughout the game.
No. You can if you want, but
You should. That would be entertaining.
yeah, like
That's a podcast.
yeah, and like if you want to come up with like a story for the battle beforehand, you're absolutely welcome to, or you could
Cool.
just pick up dice and roll dice at each other, you know.
All right.
Yeah, it's fun. There's a bit like you can have a bit of a role play element. Like
Yeah.
when you're playing a battle, for example, if you're actually playing the game. Things can become meaningful if they're meaningful to your characters, and obviously you invent that. So,
Yeah.
for example, Mark's got a lot of stories about characters that have never been killed in battle before, like literally because the dice have like just not thrown that way, right?
Yeah.
And so he's kind of ramped those up to be these heroes that maybe one day fall or don't.
Yeah, like I had one character survive 25 games.
How do you keep track of this?
I have it on my phone, just kind of
This
win-loss.
is so you guys are like really invested in this.
Oh yeah,
No,
thousands
he
of
just
dollars.
converted
Dude.
his garage into a podcast station for no reason.
Nuts.
It can be as big of an
Do
investment
you
as you want. Or a
dream
little.
Lorehammer? Like, do you dream sci-fi?
No, I dream about smoking weed. Come on, I got my priorities.
Me too. I was
in
just
playing with
mind.
cats,
Come
We're on
on.
the same page.
Smoking weed and playing with cats and climbing trees.
And
That's,
Lego.
that's what I'm all about.
But no, this is like I dare say it is Mark and I's. This is our favorite universe. Like it's just by far the deepest, the coolest,
So
the
what-
grittiest, the darkest, and everything's just shit show. There's constant war. Everyone's fighting with each other.
I love that.
Nothing turns out well. It's dark as fuck, but it's also so dark it cranks it up just that enough where it's actually like just absurd and very entertaining.
So
Yeah.
those are your favorite things: the chaos, the absurdity, and the darkness.
Yeah. It's a horrific universe. You don't want to live
This
here.
is
Yeah,
my
There-
boyfriend.
there's a there's
proud
a
of you.
saying like Star Wars fans, Star Trek fans, they all want to like live in that universe. They want to be a part of it. 40K fans were like, oh no, we don't want that. This
place is a shit show,
Even the
yeah.
happy ending there, it's like, okay, you worked in a factory for 80 years and you finally got your retirement, which is a bolter to the head because now you're no longer useful.
Yeah,
Like,
basically, yeah.
That's your retirement plan. And that's a happy ending for 40K.
So your escape from life and the toil of this is more
Well, yeah, I
sadness
live.
and darkness.
I live such a blessed life, you know. I just run around.
You have to give yourself
You gotta-
trauma
yeah.
somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta keep humble.
Exactly.
I like it.
You asked a question. You said, so how many races are there?
Yeah.
So there are 8 main races. But over the 30 years of writing, there have been mentioned like over 150 different races.
So
And,
why are those 8 the main ones? They're just
they're just the most either
Sucks to suck
numerous
other
or
races.
best technology, or maybe they have the drive to do it. Like there's some races out there that just don't have the drive to go conquer
Okay, and
planets.
so those 8 are they like?
They're the galactic players. They're the relevant races that are
Yeah.
most prolific.
And
that
what are
exist
those?
in-
Yeah,
Orcs?
So we got
Yeah, yeah.
humanity, we got orcs, we got Necron, we got town kind of.
They want to be, but they're there
Up
enough.
next we got Eldar. We'll talk about Eldar. So basically, when you're
Elves.
exactly.
Yeah.
Think of
Good
elves.
guessing.
They're
Lord of the
they're the
Rings.
typical elves, but dialed up to even further and have a little grim darkness in it.
I like it.
But they're a dying race. There's not a lot of them
Can
in the
they
galaxy.
lie?
Yeah, they can lie. Sure.
Well,
So millions
that's
of
the
ye-
elf thing. That
So
they
millions and
can't
millions of years ago, these guys actually dominated the galaxy. They were the most prolific race, and then they got so. I mean, what's the story? Like satiated. They
Yeah,
got
so basically,
carried away.
yeah, they developed, machines to do all the labor for them. Their economy's stable. They don't have to worry about anything. They don't have to worry about food. So they just start indulging themselves.
And they just walk around in bikinis and g-strings.
Well, those are dark Eldar. But yeah, so the Eldar just started indulging themselves. And, at first you're just making out with girls. And then the next step is, having full-on murder orgies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
eventually...
I like it kinky like that.
Yeah. So we go back to the warp. So the warp feeds off of the emotions and stuff of sentient races.
No matter where anybody is.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
So the Eldar, they started doing all these crazy things like fucking around and killing people and sacrificing whole planets just for the thrill of a new experience.
Hedonism. It's
They're
pure
like the
hedonism. Yeah.
Aztecs.
Hedonism to 1,000.
Like
yeah.
drugs.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So what ended up happening, they actually birthed like this entity in the warp called Slanesh, who is like a god of desire,
I know this one.
desire, perfection. Yeah, it's not always sectional.
Dylan says like
sexual.
indulgence.
Indulgence, sure.
Yeah.
That's why Dylan
Yeah.
said he really liked them.
Yeah.
It's like all about indulgence
Yeah,
and like ecstasy and like an enormous amount of everything. Basically.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't always have to be crazy. Like normally when people think Slanesh, you think like bright pink colors, but it could also be like, no, we have the blackest black armor. It's anything that is like kind of over the top and excessive. Yeah.
Quick question though: Slanesh or Slanish? Because you guys say it differently.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Irrelevant.
Everything is fucking tomatoes.
Yeah, exactly.
But what happens is these guys, they got so deep on the hedonism train where just like it's all just getting projected into the warp, that this chaos god gets birthed. And then what happens is at this point where this chaos god gets birthed, she screams so loudly it basically blows up almost the entire population. So all their souls, for example, detonate. They all fucking just die. Shall we watch? Almost. So what happens is there's only a few of these guys left. So they're considered the dying race. Because like I said, millions of years ago, these guys dominated until they got way too out of control, and now there's fuck all left and they're struggling to survive.
Yeah.
But they're super connected to the warp. Like each of them has their own kind of psychic powers and abilities, that kind of stuff. But yeah, that is what's left of Space Elves, basically.
I do like the idea of dark elves.
Yeah,
so
so
far
then-
my favorite.
Yeah, so the Dark
so
Elves
too.
are basically like, they're the ones who are still kind of like, yeah, hedonism's still kind of fun. Excessiveness is still kind
Happy
of fun.
heathen.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So they realize that like the chaos god that detonated their fucking race like still wants their souls. It's still trying to feed off them. So what some of the Eldar did, they're like, hey, we're not going to try to run away and like live the life we were. Let's just continue to indulge, but find other people to sacrifice their souls instead.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they're like just pure BDSM, like horrific, just fucking
Yeah.
They're horrible. Like and then
Definitely my favorite.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
far.
Really, so far my favorite. Like everything
On
else
to
is
the
boring.
next
This
one.
is
All right.
So then up next we will have so we've done
Tyranids.
Tyranids, yeah. So the
Tyranids.
Tyranids are your classic they look like bugs essentially, and they actually come from
Oh, these are
outside
the
of the
ones
galaxy.
you drew, or you painted really cool.
Yeah, the yellow and black, yeah. Yeah, so that's another nice thing. All these armies, you can paint them however you want and come up with your own story from and whatever. So the Tyranids, they actually have come from outside of the galaxy, and we don't know basically anything about them. Like, they don't communicate with us. They're just here to devour planets. And when we say devour planets, they will literally go to a planet and suck the planet dry of all biomass, like, and bring it up to their ships and then create new Tyranid creatures out of it. And that's their whole goal. Their whole goal is just to go to planets, feed, devour the planet, move on to the next one.
Yeah.
They don't care about negotiating.
No, they're the insectoid race. So
They
they
don't
work
even
in a
talk to you. They just show up and do it.
Nope, they don't even talk to you.
They work in a hive mind.
rude.
So they're like insects, right? They'll
That's rude.
little more
so rude of
At least
you.
announce yourself. You know?
they're just insects. So they all have a hive mind. Their pure goal is just is a natural feed to a desire to feed.
So are they evil then? Because that
Well,
doesn't.
they're kind of neutral because
If anything,
they don't discriminate. Yeah.
That's nice.
You don't look at your dog and think that it's evil because it's doing dog things, like or a tiger for eating a deer. You know,
It's just
That's-
their biological function.
Correct,
is to-
yeah.
is
But
to
there,
consume
there's
and
no
kill.
malice to it.
No,
There's
no, I understand.
Yeah.
It's the scariest biological function because these guys literally 10 planets bare. And no one knows how to stop them. They came from outside the universe and they're fucking eating
It
shit.
reminds me so much of this movie, and I can't remember the name. It's bugging me.
Oh, that's
So one cool thing about them, we talked a little bit about space travel. So the way these guys actually travel through space is they have these ships called narwhals, and they will kind of lock onto
Spaceships or boat spaceships.
no, like living creatures.
Oh,
like
that's
everything
cool
is
too.
organic. So
Yes.
you can have like a 10-kilometer long Tyranid floating around in space, or you can have some of these ones that are just
Like
regular.
that turtle-looking one.
Yeah, like that's just a regular kind of
sick.
size thing.
But that doesn't come down to planets.
The big ones?
Yeah.
No, they're stuck
And
in
so
space.
what? They're just like riding on the back of that, or
inside of it.
inside of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
But so the narwhal is super cool because they'll lock onto a planet's gravity waves, and it will take them potentially centuries to get to that planet. But that planet will get fucked up in the process because the gravity waves of the planet will start to create like earthquakes and like volcanoes and stuff. So all of a sudden your planet just
happening to Earth right now.
yeah, exactly. All of a sudden your planet just like starts getting like
the
really
bugs don't-
volatile.
You guys,
The
did
bugs
you just
don't
bring me
come
here to
down
tell
the
me
planet,
something?
they just, like,
No,
kill it.
In
so
2020.
so all Tyranids are there's so many, like if you look at this picture, you have all those are Tyranids, right? So they have many different types. So those ones will come down, but their spaceships, they're locked in space.
Yeah.
They're skeletal
So
structure.
because they're inside of that like thing,
Yeah.
they just like puke it onto the planet. Like,
Yeah,
how'd
they
get on?
have like spores essentially. If you Google like mycetic spore,
Yeah, just
basically
Google Macetic
I'll
spore.
try.
MY.
Cetic.
Yeah, I think that's
Do you know
probably.
everything? 'Cause this is so cool.
He does.
So this
have-
is yeah. So they will like literally shoot these out. Like just imagine like, you know.
And then they like hatch.
No, that
Yeah,
happened
yeah.
in Star
little
Wars
guys.
lots.
See, those
Yeah,
little
yeah.
They
guys.
fucking have little egg babies on your planet and it
Yeah,
hatches
yeah.
and kills you.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. So
That's
Oh, that's the baby?
Yeah,
those are
How
just
cute is it when you
little
get killed by
spores.
that?
Right?
I think
Way to go. That's the one.
I think you're onto something, B. Though I think after COVID we get hit by Tyranids. I think that's what's happening with that fucking planet.
No, I mean, like, really, what else is going to happen?
Alien
40K
invasion.
is real. Yeah, so Tyranids, yeah, they're the I don't care about anything, I just want to eat, and we're all gonna die to these guys one day race.
Yeah.
So what races do
Fun.
we have left? Do we have any left?
We got the big one, Chaos.
Yeah.
We
So
have to explain what Chaos is.
chaos isn't necessarily a race because chaos can affect everything. Anyone can fall to the dark powers in the warp. When we were talking about Slaanesh, that chaos god, it will manipulate anyone into serving it, or maybe you will serve
Oh,
it
it's
intentionally.
non-binary?
Yeah.
Slanesh is non-binary, guys.
Yeah, well, it fucks all races. It does not discriminate who it naturally has to fuck, basically.
But
That doesn't mean-
the chaos gods not only will try to use you and dominate you, they can also, if you're good enough, they'll give you gifts. So lots of people will, serve a chaos god for a gift. A gift might be like if you're serving Slaanesh, we'll go with that so I don't have to explain another god. Might be super quick, heightened senses. So like you can see 10 times as far, you can smell really good. You might get these blessings that help you out.
And is that the service is the payment, or is it just a big whole manipulation thing after the fact?
Well, it kind of, so it's a two-way relationship. Slaanesh needs us or living beings because to feed off of. So in a way they manipulate you, but at the same time Slaanesh does need the servants because without them doing the bidding, Slaanesh won't get more
So
powerful.
it is kind of a symbiotic relationship.
It is. There is a leader to it. Like Slaanesh is the tippity top of that chain, but ultimately Slaanesh doesn't want to just sacrifice followers for fun. But maybe he does, because that's the whole thing about Slaanesh is excess, and maybe sacrificing all your followers is pretty excessive.
Interesting.
So, but the elf guys,
Yeah.
they don't do that for Slanesh?
They're
They do that for themselves.
Or no, they do
Yeah.
that for their own chaos god
so
thing.
so the dark elves are we talking
Dark,
about?
yeah.
So the dark elves, so when they burst Slaanesh, all the Eldar souls were basically guaranteed to go to Slaanesh when they die. So the dark Eldar, to fend that off, they basically inflict pain and suffering on
Others, yeah.
Yeah. So then their soul doesn't get eaten.
But that is for Slanesh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
yeah, it's interesting.
But they don't worship Slaanesh. They don't even like Slaanesh.
No, they're just
That's
trying
the
to
difference.
save their own ass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. for
Whereas
sure.
these are generally humanity, but it can be other races that will fall to chaos gods.
Yeah, and there are 4 main chaos gods.
Yeah.
So Slaanesh, the god of excess. Then we got Khorne, who is the god of war and blood and violence.
Cool.
We got Nurgle, which is like the god of
Nurgle.
decay, disease, entropy. So
Yeah.
It's
you
like
know.
the 4 horsemen.
There's some parallels.
And then the final one is Chinch, or
Xanich.
whatever.
Chinch or Xanich?
It has a
very
weird
different
name.
names.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
If you look up how it's spelled, it's pretty fucked. Let's
Oh, is it
let
like
you
with
read
an
it.
X?
Nope. Zinch.
Lezenich.
Tzenentch. How would you say that?
Tznich? I can't.
This is great radio. I love it.
I would say Z.
You would say Zinch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Zinch as well. I think so it's interesting because like the chaos gods are obviously these evil entities, and they are gods, and they exist, and they fuck shit up, and they recruit people into their midst, and they obviously manipulate and corrupt. But it's cool because the history is interesting because like humanity once upon a time wasn't about religion, wasn't about any of that. And they were led by the emperor at the time who was roaring around the galaxy doing his thing. And he always said that technology is the most important thing and that, for no one to worship him as a god because we'll always just be, technology will be our savior.
Is the emperor like ever lasting? Like, is he just old as shit?
Well, what happens is the emperor eventually gets quote unquote defeated and he's kind of left eternally on this throne where he's basically forever dying. 1,000 souls get sacrificed to him every day to keep him alive, but he has no true form of what he once was. Then we shoot way forward into
like
the
Voldemort
future.
when he's weakened.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. Then we shoot way further into the future, and the emperor's been so inactive that humanity has turned on their opinion about the savior of technology, and now they've gone full religious. So they've just brought the emperor in their minds to be this god being. And so what happens is, like, even though there's technically god, quote unquote, for humanity, what's happened is a certain amount of humanity found these chaos gods in the warp. They're like, no, gods exist, but they're fucking evil. And so a certain percentage of them obviously went over to the chaos gods. But the emperor himself, who still exists, has such a divine presence, let's say, but he's just really powerful psychically, where he can still encourage people to come to humanity and kind of try to keep humanity under wraps and away from chaos, because chaos is the ultimate evil. Think of it as just pure fucking evil.
I would love it if a bunch of evangelicals found out that like gods exist, but they're all just Satan.
Yeah, right.
Like, shit, we gotta go to the dark side.
That would top off 2020.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically. But
that's basically what you're describing. Is
yeah.
that, like, they firmly believed in gods. They found out the gods are evil, and they're like, oh shit, I guess
over.
we believe in evil gods now.
Well, yeah. At first, it was way more subtle. It wasn't just
Correct.
like that, but yeah. Nowadays, it kind of is.
No, it's an interesting story because religion does have a huge part in this universe, especially for humanity. Everything's driven on through religion. Everything is for the emperor. Everything they do is to make humanity a greater. Everything's
For the emperor or
for the god.
for
Yeah.
the evil guy.
Well, yeah, if they're for chaos, but we're talking about humanity as its current form. So yeah, the emperor is super important.
So the humans or humanity doesn't vote for any of the evil gods? We're not
Well,
their team?
What elected you guys?
Chaos will infect any race, so you
Yeah.
will have races that fall to chaos.
Yeah.
Humanity, but humanity as a whole, majority of them do not fall to chaos. They worship the emperor. But,
Okay.
yeah.
Straight and narrow.
Yeah. Sorry,
I
I was
like
just telling where my mind goes. I'm like, we're not siding with the evil guys. They just seem all
yeah.
powerful. I would go to them.
But they're not all powerful though.
But it's
So-
symbiotic. They give me awesome powers, and I just got to kill some folks.
Or you're not good enough and they fuck you over and they sacrifice you. Which 9 times out of 10, that is what's going to happen
when you
to
deal
you.
with dangerous folks.
Get you every time.
Yeah, there are very few happy endings, especially when dealing with the chaos gods.
Similar to life.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's Google chaos spawns, because this is what's going to happen to you, I'm sorry to say.
I'm
I've
already a
definitely
spawn of chaos.
I've seen her.
He
I've seen her in
calls
these
me
moods
an imp.
sometime. That's for sure.
This
That's
is most
cute.
likely
That's
your
romantic.
I make a certain face, and he's like, stop making the imp.
That's
face."
Natalie personified.
Yeah.
Those are
Where-
some of the moods that she gets in. Yeah, that pink one there. That accurately represents her most of the time.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
You've
Sometimes
got
you gotta go full
right
demon.
a
up
lot
in
of
the
fleshy
morning.
bits, a lot of
A
teeth.
lot of fleshy bits.
You've got things you don't understand. You've got
Now that's an eye.
Deep psychological wounds.
I
Past
like
trauma in there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I look like right now.
Incredible.
you got a mouth coming out of your neck. You've got feels like that sometimes.
Not the most aesthetically pleasing.
Oh my
And yet he
God.
loves me anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's the grim dark. We're at constant war. So I mean, humanity is just trying to expand throughout the universe.
It kind of seems like when you make a deal with Ursula, and then you get turned into one of those little seaweed things.
Yeah.
40K Disney. Let's make it happen.
This whole thing is us comparing it to other.
Yeah, like
fantasy
how do we make it
universes.
relevant to our lives?
Literally.
You have to.
Little
Hey,
Mermaid.
Last episode I was on, I just made like 7 Harry Potter references just to keep it clean. What appeals to you about the setting or the characters we've seen so far?
I
Obviously,
definitely
we're
like
both
the
elves. We like the elves a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
The dark elves specifically. Dark
I
elves.
think
elves
kind
in
of
general,
both of them
yeah.
are cool, but the dark elves are extra cool because
I
If
can
I
tell
was
you-
to get dressed as an elf, dark elf.
Yeah,
but
straight up.
Generally speaking, normal.
So let's talk a little bit more about the Eldar then. So the Eldar, they're broken into a couple different main factions. So
factions.
during the fall of the Eldar, this is when they became super hedonistic. Right before Slaanesh was born, there's a bunch of Eldar who are like, "This is fucking crazy. We got to get out of here." So they made these giant planet-sized spaceships, and they flew away.
They couldn't hang.
Yeah.
They couldn't hang. So
Yeah.
those are basically what we call Craft World Eldar, and they're the
Pussy
main.
bitches.
Wow, they're pretty fucking crazy.
They
They're
couldn't
awesome.
hang, bro. They did.
They
So
couldn't hang.
There's nothing
good.
left.
They're the
No,
better. They're the
they're-
gray version of the Eldar.
They're
Yeah,
just
the
the
gray
not
version,
kinky.
yeah.
They're like,
yeah.
they're
So
getting
that-
too crazy. We gotta go.
So that's some pictures of them. We also have another one called Exodite Eldar, and they're basically think like wood elves, where they seen all that crazy stuff happening, and instead of trying to like go back to the life they once had before the hedonism, they tried something different, and they want to be like one with nature.
Oh, like hippies.
So regular nature elves, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have
Wait, I
Corsairs.
want to see the nature elves first. I
They
wanna
don't have
kinda get a
models for
visual.
them,
They
but
don't?
what? Why?
Well, that helps so much.
there's
Well,
like
I
the,
almost played a game with you,
oh.
and now I guess it'll never happen.
Never.
So unfortunate.
Okay, so far we have the elves that couldn't hang, dipped out early.
Yeah.
Then we have the nature elves.
The nature elves.
who are just like at peace with one,
Yeah.
hug some trees,
And then you got
Smoke some
Corsairs,
smoke some weed.
which are basically Eldar pirates. And
Did
they-
these guys have ships?
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, they have.
but not
ships.
water ships.
No, it's all
Oh.
space.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
they,
Yeah,
they
they're
probably do
flying.
have their own type
I just
of
want like a
navy.
spaceship that looks like a water ship. I don't know why. I want that.
Well, Google like
Dylan said that exists.
40K
He said that
battleship
exists.
or 40K.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's have a look. I mean,
Okay.
there's
I
like
think
the
I'm-
battleships are like they're enormous.
that's
They're the
cool.
size of fucking like.
See,
what,
like that one there.
countries?
Those
Like-
straight up look like
Yeah, so this whole
ships.
time I was not thinking about space in any capacity, just different
You weren't?
planets.
Interesting.
Oh.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously everything occurs on the planets themselves.
So do they?
But a lot of it, like, there are space battles, right? Like, the people obviously jump in these giant fucking monolithic battleships, spaceships, and then, you know, they fight with each other in
Do
space.
they have like a bubble around that, or do they not breathe air, or like?
No, there's oxygen on there, just like any
I
spaceship
know,
from any
but
sci-fi.
that looks like
Yeah, that's wide open.
yeah.
Yeah, they have.
Oh, you're
It
not,
looks
you're
like
not
they go
walking
up on
around the
the
top of
mast
it.
and-
You're not standing on it. You're inside it,
Well,
aren't you?
I don't know.
So yeah, so physics are the same.
Yeah.
Nobody can be in space and just
Yeah,
hang
yeah.
out.
Yeah, correct.
Nobody
unless
can
it's
chill.
unless it's some like kind of fucking super unique race that has that ability, but that's
Nobody
pretty
just
rare.
like chilling, floating
Okay,
around.
okay, so what
We're
other
talking about
elves?
Space Marines.
So we also have Corsairs, which are basically Eldar pirates. So they're not hedonistic like the Dark Eldar, but they are in it for themselves. They do, raid planets just so they can take the loot. You know.
So more money driven, self driven, less
Exactly.
like sex.
Yeah.
But they'll kill for it.
Yeah, they will kill.
They'll
for
kill
it.
for it.
They won't just like
But
ask.
also, like, they will help craft worlds and exodites if they become under attack because they still believe in their race.
And then there's the
pretty
dark
sweet.
elves. That's
And
the
then
last
there's the
one.
Dark
Dark
Eldar.
Eldar, who are
Yeah.
just super, super, super.
Okay,
fucked up.
so far, Dark Elder is
Yeah.
my favorite.
Yeah.
So
Drukari.
Dark Eldar are pretty cool. So they have this city. It's called Cormora.
Cormora?
Cormora. Yeah, and it's a city halfway in the warp and halfway not. They have what's called the
Oh,
Webway, which
sick.
is basically like this tunnel that's they use for space travel and it whatever. But they've built this massive city in there, and when I say massive, it's indescribable. It's so big that it takes up infinite amounts of space, but at the same time not.
Yeah.
It's this really hard
One of those
conundrum.
catch-22s.
Yeah, and if you
Because it exists but doesn't exist, right? So it's like,
exactly.
yeah.
If you Google a picture of it, they have so in the top right there, you can see like they're
And they have
one
swords
over.
and shit like they samurais.
Yeah. So like it's just like these spires, but
Spires,
like
yeah.
those spires also come down. Like reality is a weird thing when it comes to Cormorant because the spires are kind of every which way, and like you might jump and then gravity might switch, and now you're on the other
Are
side.
you trying to sell
and-
me real estate? Like I'm in.
Yeah, it's a great place.
So you can't get to it, but once you're on it, it's forever.
No, you can get to it. You can leave it whenever you want. You open up like portals to it. So.
Are there like children in this universe?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they get fucked up.
Yeah, so
They
that's
don't
what
last
I was
too long.
wondering. Like, it's all darkness and chaos
yeah.
and whatever. Like, is there school zones? You know what I mean?
A school zone,
Yeah, some places.
like training
like,
camps,
it's a good
boot
neighborhood
camps.
to raise a kid. Like,
Yeah, like there are places in 40K that are
Yeah.
actually nice places, but it's the minority.
And other than the elves,
Eldar.
What's the one that likes sex?
Dark Eldar.
Yeah, Dark Eldar.
Other than them, is
Yeah.
sex purely for reproduction purposes?
No.
No.
Like even with humanity, like you can have such a variety of planets where some might be like sex is only for reproduction, where other ones might be like we do this as a way to unwind, or culturally, however they justify it. Like it can mean anything in any which way. All you need to do to be a part of the Imperium is pay your imperial tithe, which is giving soldiers to fight in wars. So as long as you're doing that and you're not obviously like worshipping Khorne and Slaanesh and all that kind of stuff, you're
So
part
I
of the
need
Imperium.
like slaves or something.
It's more
Like, how do you give soldiers if you just you?
It's not necessarily like we live altruistic lifestyles and go to church every day. It's more like we will use our religion to like bless the technology so it keeps working because we don't know how to fix it because the technology's gone. Or like, hey, we're about to go into battle. Let's like pray to the God Emperor to make sure that we don't die. It's more like there's a lot of rituals and stuff like that, but it doesn't necessarily have to be
desperation.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's more of a comfort thing, and like obviously their souls are still connected to the warp, so they feel like it's connected, and it's a whole thing. But yeah, no, like religion's a very important aspect, but like there's so many different variety of worlds. You can have worlds that just fuck all day and then still worship the Emperor, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just like they do in society here.
There are tons of cannibalistic cults that are like still a part of the Imperium.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, like
So what are the laws? Like what can't you do?
Or is it just free for all,
It-
survival of the fittest?
It literally depends on the planet. So once again, the only thing, as long as you're paying your imperial tithe, whatever your world's government system, whether it's, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. Just as long as you pay your tithe to the emperor and give soldiers to the war, you're good to do whatever you want.
As long as your planet gives soldiers to the war. Is that you mean, or you individually? Because like I don't have people
Yeah, as long
to
as
give. Who am I
your
giving?
planet, like if your planet has 10
like in
million
Mulan,
people,
they just come in.
you have to give 10% of
Straight
your
up.
population. or
One
whatever.
man in every family.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and sometimes it's an honor to do that. Like, there are families who have like their firstborn always go off to war, like the Vestroyan firstborn. It's this great honor, and they pass their rifle down to their children. But then other time it's
Literally, bro.
Other times it's literally like they recruit child soldiers and send them off, or penal legions where they'll send their prison population off to war or whatever. So it's really whatever you want can and will happen.
And Space Marines.
Space Marines. We didn't talk about
You
Space
don't
Marines.
ever want
I
to
know,
talk
but these
about
are the most boring.
Everybody talks about this.
Literally, Dylan loves these ones, and these ones bore the shit out of me.
Yeah, they're the worst.
Space Marines are cool.
Okay, so
How?
sell me
How?
on it.
Yeah.
Sell.
So they're basically the Supermen of the universe.
Oh, okay, well,
Again, boring.
Ouch.
I'm out.
So for every like
I
1,000
Batman.
regular men, you need like one Space Marine, basically.
for how many?
1,000 regular
1,000,
dudes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's only 1 million of these in the galaxy, and the Imperium has 1 million worlds. So each world only gets one of these guys.
Are there female Space Marines?
No.
That seems interesting.
Negative.
There's reasons.
What do they fuck? Is it like
Wait,
a
what are the
gay
reasons?
society?
No, it's
So the reason is the Emperor of Mankind created a bunch of suns, and Space Marines take the genetic code of the suns to enhance themselves. So they have these different abilities and stuff. Like they can see different color or different like infrared and stuff, or they can spit acid. So they have this genetic code that's passed down from these like not people, these sons of the Emperor. So that genetic code only works with males.
correct.
Let's go back to elves.
Which is technically Eldar, right?
Eldar.
Does it
Eldar.
kill
It's
you
not-
every time we say elves?
No, it's
Are
the
we
same
just
thing.
like
That's-
Legolas and it bugs the shit?
That's your reference, so it makes sense. It's fine.
It pretty much is. Like,
Yeah.
40K started off originally as like a joke, where literally back in the day it was elves. Like it was
Yeah.
a direct elven thing.
Well, I genuinely thought you were saying like the elders, like the older.
Like the Eldar
wise.
actually
Yeah.
they call themselves, like Eldar is the human word for the elves or the Eldar. They call themselves like Drakari for dark elves, or
Oh, see, that's so
Drakari.
cool.
I feel like I've heard
Drakari.
that term.
probably Drakari. They
Are
also
you
have
sure you're not
like,
thinking of the Dothraki? 'Cause that's
That's funny too. No, Brianna must have talked about that.
yeah, because she does play dark elves.
Okay.
She plays Drakari.
because she's cool and she knows what's up.
Oh yeah, she does. Yeah, so they have their own cool or better names. So we'll go back to Cormorant since you guys like the Dark Elves. So Cormorant is this crazy place. It's not run by a single individual. It's run by a bunch of different things. There's kind of 3 main factions that also have factions in them. So one of the factions are homunculi, which are basically like flesh crafters. They also will like birth populations, so Vatgro, Drukari, and you can
That
even
one's dope.
Yeah, that is dope. You're saying a lot of words that are just words.
It just sounds really.
Yeah,
And that-
Drukari and Drather
And what was the one that you just said?
skin grafting.
Homunculi?
Like,
Homunculi,
She
yeah.
said
That's
but
a
you
pretty
just said
common
they
term.
skin graft something.
Yeah, like they're
does that
manipulators
mean?
of flesh, so they know how to grow and shape flesh.
Yeah.
And do enhancements like
They're
they
like
can have a
plastic
third arm.
surgeons.
Super fucked up.
exactly. Yeah, Google a
Big
picture
boobs.
of one for them.
That's a cool one.
That's dope.
And they're super powerful because they actually can grow Dark Eldar.
Remember that color.
So like
That's
they
very
can
cool.
make people or
Yeah,
like
in vats.
elves, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, they make them in vats. So like if you look at that one, like that one has grown like a bunch of different limbs and all types of crazy things
and
going
what?
on.
How much time does it take them to grow a limb? Seconds? Days?
It's never really clarified. It's quick though. It's not like a lifetime.
So like in a battle, they could just come in clutch and just.
Yeah, graft a new arm onto them or
Potentially,
whatever.
yeah.
Okay, so that's the one of the.
That's one of the big
Words.
players.
Yeah, Drukari do not give a fuck. They just do whatever they
Drukari,
want.
and
for
that
whatever
is a
means.
But
form
that's
of the
not the
Eldar, or is
Drukari,
it completely
that's a
separate?
different
Drukar,
sect.
the homunculi?
The homunculi.
Yeah, homunculi are like a faction in the Dark Eldar.
Okay, so we're still talking. Okay,
Correct.
these guys
Yeah.
really are good.
Okay,
cool.
so what's the different faction? Because you
So-
said there were 3.
Yeah, so that's a big one. I'll tell you one more cool thing about them. So you can actually, Dark Eldar can actually like save their soul and then give it to a homunculi. So when they die, the homunculi will grow a new body for them and then put their soul into that new body.
That's
so this is
awesome.
so this is one of the reasons why
Shit's
they're
so
one of the
lit.
most powerful things in Cormorant because everyone needs them
Yeah.
to survive.
You just need a homunculi buddy to like revap you.
Mhm, exactly. And you want to be nice to the homunculi, otherwise he's gonna put your
Yeah.
soul into a pig. You know, like
Oh, well.
right. So
Be
you
nice
don't
to the weird kid in school.
That's
exactly.
terrifying.
So the next one we'll talk about is witch cults. So
Yeah.
we were talking about how the Dark Eldar, they like to inflict pain on others so that their soul doesn't get eaten by Slaanesh, but Slaanesh will feed on other ones. So the witch cults, they've created huge gladiatorial arenas, and they will go around the galaxy capturing all types of crazy creatures that
It
then...
just seems like the sickest society. for
Oh,
sure.
yes, it's
Yeah.
fucking wild. But
So
yeah,
they just have giant showdown fights. Of
yeah,
different
exactly.
creatures.
Or even just torture sessions or whatever, whatever they feel like doing. Like it's a whole big show, it's a whole production. So
How much do tickets to that generally go for?
it's $750.
Front
Look
row
at that picture.
seats.
Yeah.
That's the one you see in the fucking like the arena, for example.
And
Yeah,
these are
that's-
all
Do you have
female.
to buy blood ponchos?
They're primarily female.
Correct,
There are male ones, but they're never quite as good.
Is it still called a witch?
Yes.
Probably.
but it's elf
Yes.
witch.
Eldar
cult?
witch.
Eldar witch, sorry.
Eldar witch cult.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of their whole gimmick. That's how they're so powerful in Cormorant because every Dark
There you go.
Eldar
The
needs
cult of
them.
Strife.
Yeah, like look at all the crowd. So all that crowd, they're also instead of losing their soul to Slaanesh right now, they're also basking and feasting off this show that is being put on for them right now.
And so for these different like factions and stuff, when you read the story that like tells you about them,
Yeah.
do they like have distinctive features and stuff, or is that really all up to you? You paint as you
Yeah,
want?
yeah. So they have like they come up like GW comes up with their own main ones just to kind of give you some ideas. But then
Yeah.
you can come up with an infinite amount of whatever you want to do.
Of course.
Yeah.
I just think to distinguish the sex from each other, it might be interesting to like make them different
Well,
color
didn't
schemes
Brianna
and
like
things.
add
Sure.
boobs and stuff to her?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
You can always add
just
boobs
with
Like
to
this
things.
mold
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean,
So it's like
things
putty.
are generally enhanced if you add tits to them.
Yeah.
In fact, I dare say they become more powerful in the 40k universe. Yeah, it's a general rule.
Good to know.
You'd be very powerful.
I'd be so bad.
You'd be pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Heard it's the same here, so it's that's the key.
But yeah, no, pure hedonism. It's all blood sports. It's all fucking murder. It's all doing
Yeah.
drugs. It's all like not giving a fuck. It's and trying to escape the damnation of your immortal soul, basically.
Okay, so there's the humungi, the witches.
Yeah.
Humungi.
Well, one more thing about the witches. So just about their arenas, they can be fucking huge, like city big arenas.
Yeah.
That just 2 people are fighting them.
Or
however
thousands
many.
potentially. You
It's
know,
like
whatever you
literally
want.
like think
But
of like gladiators.
yeah, the
when they
one
did
is they
huge-
have like they fly around on jet bikes and they have a bunch of columns. If you've ever watched Star Wars, think like pod racing where they're flying around through columns.
I
and
gave
it's-
up when the siblings kissed.
Okay,
It's fair enough.
fair enough. That's 4 movies in, and
I
I'm
mean,
talking about
but you
the
watch Game
first
of Thrones?
movie.
I don't know. My friend showed me one movie.
But you watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, well, that's more siblings fucking.
Amazing.
Oh, it's a different stat. Okay, so as long as I go all the way, which
Exactly. It's gotta
As long
count.
as
is really hedonistic.
That's why I don't like
that's great.
the elves that fucked off at first, because I just feel like they're pussies.
Yes.
Go hard or go
Weak.
home.
Either fuck your sister, stop messing around with this
Yeah.
kissing bullshit.
Right?
Bullshit. Go
So-
hard or go home.
The third main faction in Cormora is they're called cabals, and basically think of like the mafia. You
Lit.
know, just gangs. But they're very militaristic.
Russian elves, I'm in.
Russian elves.
You give me a bribe.
But yeah, so they're basically, you want to join a cabal because then they'll look after you. You know.
Oh, she got a titty piercing.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Pretty hard.
They're kind of by far the most boring. They're the most militaristic as well. They
They're
don't.
boring?
It's not many photos.
Well, when you compare them
mafia
to,
is
What's their
boring?
power?
There's
Do they sell like elf drugs?
Yeah, sure. They're all hopped up on drugs, all of them, all
Yeah.
the time. But
basically-
yeah, they're
What is
very
an
military.
elf drug?
But it's space
What is
drugs.
mil-
You
No,
gotta
it's
start
like,
calling
do
them
they-
Eldar, though.
Sorry.
At this point,
what's
you
an
should.
Eldar drug? Like, do they do morphine or they have their own crazy?
They got
shit?
their own things. Like we actually just did an episode. The last episode, we went over a bunch of crazy drugs that they had. I can't remember any of the names.
That was
You're
last
fucking terrible.
episode.
I know.
It's over now.
They have like the Ghost Fire, blah 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 blah. You know,
Yeah.
crazy 40K
You've
names or
already
whatever.
known so many names. I'm like
I'm
impressed by
impressed.
how you like.
How long have you been doing this?
Like almost 20 years.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So
Well,
some
that's
has
good.
stuck with you.
Some
Fun.
some of
I'm
it.
glad to
yeah,
hear
yeah.
And he doesn't know how to read, so we don't know how he does it.
It's
Honestly.
pictures. It's
Oh,
all
okay. It's all
pictures.
photos.
Yeah.
It's in photos interpretation.
It's
That's what it
pictures
is.
worth 1,000 words is what I keep hearing. So, you know, why read a book when you can look at 2 pictures?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But yeah, cabals, they're kind of just, they're the mafia, you know, they kind of take advantage of everyone else.
Get shit done.
Just fuck shit up.
Yeah, I mean, Mafia of a Dark World is something of a scary thought, you know.
And,
Yeah.
and you can be a dark elf. Or sorry, you can be a dark
Eldar.
Eldar
Yeah.
and be any of those 3 like sex.
Yeah. You can even change in between if you wanted.
Like midlife.
Yeah. Because all Eldar are immortal creatures. Like, unless you shoot them in the face, cut off arms, they will
And then
live
you
forever.
could still give your soul to a homunculi.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
hope I got
then
that word right.
You did, and then even live on forever. So
Yep.
Yeah.
So lots of people will join a
You
cabal.
just need a hunk friend.
Lots of people will join a cabal just so that they can get paid, so then that they can save enough money to get their soul saved, like by homunculi.
Makes sense. You
Yeah.
go mafia first, get out the bucks, and
Yep.
then you buy into other.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly, and then maybe they'll set off onto their own adventure or whatever. But
Cool. And all of these things exist on one planet together, or
so yeah. Once again, Cormora is like this weird fucking
Oh, right.
in between. So
Between
it's not on a
zone. That's where
planet.
they live.
And can races interbreed?
yeah.
No,
No.
no.
So
You
then
can't
how?
go fuck a
Mules
goat
or
and
anything?
No. Doesn't
So
exist.
you had said that there were 8 main races.
Yeah.
And now there's millions.
Like hundreds of other.
How,
tribes.
if they did not interbreed, is that possible?
Well, there's 8 main galactic players, so they're the major races.
He's just saying
There's
that
a whole
those
bunch
8
of-
groups are just big enough and more important than all the others, so they just
Basically,
get
yeah.
like written.
There's a million other races and a million other planets, but they're all small time, right?
Yeah.
Just like we
So
did. Yeah.
raping is not part of the takeover.
Well, it might be. You just might not have
be for
kids.
some. I'm not sure. I don't know
But
if
there's
any
no
other-
What a
possible way that they
question.
could
No,
interbreed. I
no.
just want to know if there's like
For the most part, not. They're completely different species.
the only
Yeah.
scenario, right?
It took getting 2 women on here to ask about race.
Yeah, I know. There's definitely. I mean, you can get some chaos territory where that might be on the cards, but other than that, no. Different species generally won't breed like that. So.
Okay, interesting.
But yeah, you're not gonna find an orc human anytime soon.
No, it doesn't work that
Even
way.
though that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
That would
But
be
I
cool.
could
Wouldn't that be cool?
technically
Like a
make
magic
one.
elf
No.
human.
There
baby.
are rules to as much as you can pretty much find whatever you want. There are still hard and fast rules. Like
hard and fast.
I'm
yeah,
not
like
allowed
you
to have fun.
Yeah.
you're not allowed to have fun.
Can't
That
have
is
a
rule.
baby with another race.
rule.
Yeah.
Damn it.
You have to
My
go to
whole
war.
life,
You
I
have
thought
to go to
the whole
war.
You
life.
have to go to war.
Yeah, you've got to kill something or many
Yeah.
things.
Okay, fine.
And you know what? You'll probably die, and that's basically the story of 40K.
That's life.
You will
That's
probably
why
die.
I pick the thing I can't say, so that I can give my soul to one of the homunculi.
Yeah, there you go. So you got a life plan. That's better than the life plan.
It's
you
good to have
now.
goals.
It's a pretty good life
Yeah.
goal. Maybe
It's
you should
huge.
move
It's
to
big.
Commodore.
Dream big, right?
What's the
So,
goal?
and I think Comrade would take you, man. That was like, you might fit in there.
Can you say it one more time?
Homunculi.
No, not Elven or not Elf.
Eldar.
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 I keep losing it from my brain.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's up there, but yeah.
Yeah, so we're an hour deep into this. So that's 40K. If you have any other questions,
That's 40K.
So would you say then it's possible to explain it in an hour?
no,
no.
maybe.
Well,
No,
fine.
I
Not
feel like
well.
we've scratched a surface.
Oh yeah, like so. I think we've done like over 100 episodes, and each episode's like 2 hours long, 3
Wow.
hours. Like, and we haven't even begun to even run out of topics. I'm not at a loss at all when coming up with ideas.
Yeah,
like
it's enormous and expansive. It's probably like one of the most expansive worlds.
yeah,
honestly.
like there's literally been like thousands of novels written, books, like it's a
So would you say
30-year-old
that
setting.
like
Material,
there's
yeah.
full sectors of the world building that you don't give a fuck about, and like other sectors you're way more interested
Oh
in?
yeah, absolutely. Like Space Marines are probably one of my least
favorite.
favorite
But
things.
your
But then
favorite.
Slide them
I
under
like
a
books.
rug.
I'll tell you about my favorite thing, and then we're caller. So
Yeah.
they're called the Kroot. So the Kroot are an alien race that have the ability to, when they eat things, absorb the genetic DNA and then kind of evolve very quickly, mind you, like over the course of their lifetime, evolve into something kind of completely new. So when you're looking at these pictures, that's a Kroot. And that's a Kroot,
Yeah.
and that's a Kroot.
But
Whether-
they've eaten different stuff, so
They-
they
exactly.
literally you are what you eat.
Exactly. So some will specifically go and hunt the most poisonous creatures so that they can then themselves become like poison spitting
That's so
creatures.
smart.
Yeah, they're so cool and they're just so brutal too. I just remember being like a 13-year-old boy. I made you read this story in the other side of the garage.
Oh, that
And
was
it-
a really intense story.
yeah, and I remember reading it. It's basically like these Eldar wandering through a jungle, and everything's like unnaturally quiet. Then the Kroot just jump out and just start hacking.
I didn't want to bring it
and
back to the Eldar, but I was like, what if they eat the Eldar? They
Yeah.
can steal the
Yeah.
souls, and then they become like.
Yeah, and they'll become like more highly psychic using like magical powers and stuff. So they're one of my favorite things because
These are really cool.
they just have such potential to be kind of anything you want.
I
They're
wish
very
Dylan's
dark.
favorite
I
thing
like
was this
this.
cool.
I know.
I respect the Kroot.
He
The
just,
Kroot are
like-
pretty sweet. Well, because they fight alongside the Tau, so the Tau are kind of like they're the sci-fi alien race, and they're allies with them, so they roll along together. But it's kind of the like primitive natural side. It's
And why
like
did they ally?
more rare.
So their planet was under attack by orcs, and the Tau just came along and saved them.
Oh,
So they,
so just happenstance.
yeah,
but
but
like,
so they actually are not a part of the Tau Empire.
Mm-hmm.
They're just mercenaries.
yeah,
yeah.
Okay, so
so-
I've got a top two.
Yeah.
yeah, straight up.
Kroot are real cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're by far one of my favorite things in 40K. My other really big favorite is those big robots I have on the other side. They're called Imperial.
Right.
So do they need to eat to live, or just to evolve?
Yeah, I'm sure they need it to live,
live
to
too.
be
have
happy.
calories and whatever.
And what
Well, I
if they
just
never
mean,
want to
like-
change? What if they find something and they just love it?
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
like
then
OP
then,
build.
then they don't. Then they just either keep eating that.
keep
it
There's
the same.
also
I guess,
there's
yeah.
also genetic dead ends where they might have eaten something super clumsy
Yeah.
for a long time, but it made them super strong. But now they've lost the ability to ever change out of that. Let's look at a picture. If you scroll, I'm sure we'll find one. Or if you Google Crew Talks.
Kroodox, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like that big T-Rex dinosaur. That's a Kroot that's been eating. Who knows what the fuck it's been eating, but that is now a dead end.
And
that
it has
big thing.
another little dinosaur on top of it to control.
Yeah, so like the
other.
standard Kroot form is
a little buddy on top.
yeah, like Kroot normally will look like Kroot will normally look like this guy right here.
And he has a friend.
Yeah, so the one he's riding is a genetic dead end, where it's basically like just this.
Oh,
lumbering
so he
beast.
found a dum dum and just started riding.
Made a
it.
car
Yeah,
out
yeah,
of it.
exactly.
Made a car out of it.
Dope.
yeah. but,
I wonder if he has to pay insurance on that.
but yeah, it's wild. Like
He's a motorist.
they'll grow fucking wings and stuff, and like
so lit.
it's so crazy.
That
what
actually
they
is
can
such
do.
a cool premise. Like rapid evolution based on what you like
Yeah.
eat.
And one of my favorite things about them too is this is one of the few things we actually know about 40K, and here we go, sex. So the way they reproduce.
Well, we've been talking about this whole time.
I know, and this is one of the few examples where like GW is actually written about how it kind of works. So they actually will, they have like hands, and we like to call them jizz hands because they actually will seep genetic material through their hands and then massage their partner.
Love when
and then-
hands work properly. Love that.
Exactly.
I'll take a
So-
massage.
so
after
they're-
session.
all right.
Excellent.
I'll work some
A
cum in
jizz
there.
hand massage, yeah. well, you need lotion. Otherwise, it's a shit.
Yes.
And now you're pregnant.
But yeah, so and then it'll make the female crew pregnant, and then over the course of however many months, the female crew will barf up a new crew.
Does she barf up whatever, just like a fresh crute, or like whatever that crute's been eating's baby?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, like it'll be a mix. It'll be a 50-50%, 50 male, 50 female. So you
No,
get
but
No,
like,
yeah, but so like whatever he's been eating.
so
in
he
Yeah,
eats
yeah,
a
so
dinosaur. Does the
poison
baby
milk.
come out as a dinosaur or the original thing that he was?
Like yeah.
No, yeah, like it'll come out whatever is the most similar to his form right now. So if he has wings, that baby will most likely come out
So
with
it'll be like a
wings.
little half mom, half dad.
Exactly.
Of what they've been eating.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But
And then it eats different stuff and changes.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like they change over their lifetime pretty rapidly. So
and
this
is the change process painful?
I guess it would depend on
If
what
your
your
bones
probably happens
are-
slowly over time.
Yeah,
So,
I guess it
like,
would
you
depend
probably
on the
would notice-
change.
You would
But
adapt
he's
as
saying
you
it's
go.
pretty rapid.
Oh, okay, I guess, but
yeah.
Listen.
Rapid over maybe like they don't say how rapid.
Yeah.
It could be like 1 or 2 years or it could be a month, but it's definitely not like
I still think your bones changing, even like over a few years, would be. Like,
Unless they're just
but
intolerant.
yeah, like
Yeah.
because this is the whole thing. They were built to do this, so maybe the pain sensor is not there for when this process is
that,
happening.
yeah.
You know, who knows?
Interesting.
Hard to say.
But yeah, I mean, we needed 2 girls to come on to talk more about sex. So that's
Literally,
important, you
we
guys.
got
onto
you
the
guys.
40K
Anytime.
podcast.
That's one of my
All we wanted to talk
favorite
about is
pictures.
fucking.
That's a cool picture.
Oh, I just love it.
That's
The crude
so
on top,
cool.
like just handling the leash on the.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
I
just-
know, and the like arm.
He's
with the
he's
little
riding a big
stabby.
crude ox and he's got 2 little like crude Texas.
Yeah, that's
He's just
awesome.
like-
yeah.
Okay, yeah, so
That's
I've
a
got
happy
top 2.
family.
It's a family
It's
photo.
a
That's
family
what it is. Yeah,
photo.
that's real nice.
So nice.
Yeah, it's cute. And yeah, that guy fucks.
That guy fucks
That guy
with his
fucks.
hands.
With his
But he
hands.
doesn't have hands. He has stubs and a little knife.
No, he's just fisting
No,
right
no,
now.
no. You see that stub?
No, that's his
He's
hand.
fisting.
That's his hand.
So Crute
Oh,
actually.
he's like this.
Yeah, he's like that, exactly,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
what's the other arm doing then?
It's here. His hand is here.
He's going
See,
like
he's
this.
doing this. He's got 2 leashes. So he's doing this.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. You're just looking
it
at it wrong.
doesn't look.
It's all right. Check your ass. That's
Go
good.
down a little bit.
Oh.
So that's the hands.
Yeah, if you look at that picture,
Which one's that one?
right one,
Yeah.
yeah. So Crute hands are actually very cool because they have 2 thumbs and 2 fingers. So their hands kind of like this,
Yeah.
like so they can, yeah, like if this was another thumb.
So they're good with their hands.
they're good with their hands.
All right.
Yeah,
All the better to come
cool.
on you with.
Yeah. And they're just.
And one
they're
of
my
the
favorite.
fingers is a penis, and that's
Of
how
course,
They get the
yeah.
shit.
Like the aliens on that movie.
So if they rub another race,
Yeah.
then
Was it
another race
alien?
doesn't accept it.
No,
Okay,
no.
I just wanted to check.
To be fair, I don't think GW's written about it.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so technically they could rub.
yeah,
down
you can
and
write a story
orc and
about.
then-
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think is missing from this universe? What would you like to see?
more female characters.
There actually is a whole bunch.
there?
There's actually more female specific factions and characters than there is male. There's only one male specific one, and there's at
And
least
it's just the Space Marines.
and it's only the Space Marines. But I can rattle off a bunch.
A
Like
bunch.
it'll just be words to you,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
won't mean anything.
Okay, so there's religion, there's characters or races or whatever. Are there spirits?
Yeah, like the warp will have basically like demons and spirits. If you
Okay.
Google like a picture of
Yeah, so like the warp. I mean, I won't say it's like a celestial plane or it's like heaven or anything like
No.
that. It's not an accurate
So
description.
is there
but
like
for all
interpolitics?
intents and
oh yeah,
purposes,
like there's whole books about politicking and whatever,
The
and
warp,
you know.
the warp is like here's a good
And like
picture of warp.
currencies, did they have like exports of planets?
Yeah, for sure. And it's such a hard thing to say because once again, every planet will have their own thing.
Yeah, but export.
Yeah.
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 But I mean,
People.
like, there's no good souls or spirits or saints or anything like that, is there? There's just like this demonic presence and entities and demons and stuff that, if you're evil enough, will materialize through the warp. Is the same true of like good and humanity? It's not, is it? Like, is there good spirits that come down to save the day? Is that a thing?
Yeah, like you could make an argument that the Legion of the Damned are,
Right.
or even Imperial Saints like Saint Celestine could
But,
potentially be.
Are they alive or dead?
Saint Celestine is alive, even though she's been killed a bunch of times.
So, okay. So, I mean,
But-
it's more of a celestial power that's keeping them alive, but
Yeah.
as opposed to like the Holy Spirit coming to save the day. Kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
I guess. Whereas for evil, for chaos, it's very true. You'll get like ghosts and souls and
Yeah.
spirits and kind of stuff that
Yeah,
can fuck shit
but
up.
but even having said that, like there's been examples of like the Emperor manifesting kind of on war zones and fucking shit up even.
Yeah.
So no one really knows how it happens. and-
Yeah, it's all kind of subtle.
Yeah.
For humanity anyway.
Yeah.
It's a lot more blatant for other races.
Yeah.
Do animals still exist?
Oh yes.
They got horses and
Yeah, yeah.
Are they all evil?
Oh, necessarily.
Do
Depends
the
on the
horses
world,
have, like,
obviously.
battle armor and shit.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
there's all
absolutely,
types of things.
Also,
Well, I
very
don't know.
interesting
Okay,
world.
I'll tell you
They're out
what.
into space. I don't know if they
Universe,
brought horses with them.
They did. So I'll tell you about one more crazy creature. It's called the Crotalid. And basically, it's
I
a...
love how both of us immediately swiveled.
like,
to
eh.
that.
Yeah, here we go. I think they have a good picture of...
Is how you spell it?
Probably close enough
There
to
we
it.
go,
Oh,
Crotalid.
yeah.
I like it better with a K.
There we go. Yeah. So the top left is probably
It's
the best picture of
fucking
it.
dinos.
Yeah, so basically it's an alligator. But what makes this particular Crotalid very special and one of my favorite things in 40K is when these Crotalids, they reach a certain population, they will actually somehow open a portal in the warp and go in it and migrate across potentially the galaxy and pop up on a random planet. So we could be sitting in this room right now and boom, fucking Crotalids.
Lizard people.
Not even
Nothing,
lizard
it's a
people.
space
it's a crocodile. So they're not sentient. They're literally just a crocodile.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're aware that they're doing this. They just it just happens. So
But if they see you, they'll kill you.
So is that
oh
what
yes,
happened
they're a
in
fucking
Florida?
crocodile. Oh yeah, exactly. They're just Crotalid invasion.
Is that what happened in Florida?
But yeah, so somehow they have
portals,
the
yeah.
ability to naturally open up a portal in the warp and fling themselves across the
By accident.
If
galaxy.
anyone could do it, it would be crocodiles.
Yeah, of course. That's what I always
But
thought. too.
unintentionally.
Actually, I always thought it'd be octopuses.
Yeah, I mean, they
It's a part of how they
move and manipulate.
Yeah, but it's not like they are intentionally doing it, but it is intentional, if that makes sense.
It's just like how a tiger
feel
intends
like a
to
lot
go
of-
find some prey, except this crocodile might go through a portal to do so.
Yeah.
But they have their own instinctual, natural reasons to do so to begin
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
A lot of things in this is it is, but it isn't.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's so open ended. That's the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, you can create any world, any world where something exists. I mean, we have a general landscape of the way things are, more or less. But there's always room for like different things going on. That's why we always say yes sometimes, but not.
Which is
Yeah.
the cool factor of this, which
Yeah.
is why so many people can write their own stories
Exactly.
and paint the way they want
Yeah.
and take out their own artistic value
Yeah.
out of it.
And unlike a lot of other settings too, it's encouraged that you do
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah.
by the company, they actually encourage you to write your own stories. They write plot hooks that they want you to fill
finish.
in. Yeah, so it's very nice.
So choose
like
your
that.
own adventure.
Yeah, think much. Sure. Yep.
But,
I think that's awesome.
Either way, everyone's
so,
fucked.
too.
You got the
Either way.
The Tyranids, the alien race, they just want to eat everything. You got the Necrons, the soulless robots, they just want to kill
are
everything.
there any like
You've got-
pacifist?
I mean, yeah, they don't last long.
Is there like some kind of pacifist culture that just gets wrecked?
Nothing's
Aren't those
dominant.
with the wood Eldar?
Well, I mean, there's some races that are still primitive societies, right? And then one day a spaceman will land on it and go, "This is for the Emperor now," and just fucking kill everyone.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
Those things happen.
But that's not
right?
pacifist.
No,
It's
no.
just
Well, they're just
higher
indifferent or
technology.
ignorant. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no one that's actively. I mean, I'm sure there are. Like I said, there's room for anything, but there's
Yeah.
no like pacifist race. The world is too fucked up to be a passive race
Yeah.
to be allowed.
Like even the Tau, they tried that a little bit to be peaceful, but it
Because
didn't last
I was gonna
very
say
long.
it sounds most like the Tau.
Yeah, like
Really.
you run into
There's too many
the
threats. There's too
the
many
first
threats.
alien you run into that wants to kill you, like, oh, that's shitty. The next one, oh man, I can't believe that happened again. By the 10th time, you're like, well, what the fuck? That's it.
Maybe I
No
should
more
pick up a
pacifism.
rock.
Yeah,
Or-
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So
Either way you look in the galaxy, something's coming for you. It's abundant with threats, and
Yeah.
then if you're not prepared, you fuck. So
Yeah.
this is the intergalactic warscape we bring ourselves to.
Is there any
Well, I
like
think it's
underwater
very interesting.
planets or like
Oh,
planets
yeah.
with yeah.
oh yeah, there's everything.
Well, I'm just
There's all types of good things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's quite the world, universe,
Yeah,
galaxy.
Yeah.
World
Yeah, it's
Universe
humongous, yeah.
Galaxy.
It's gothic horror as well, which is really cool. Like it's sci-fi gothic horror, so it's all like think of your gothic horror tropes of like vampires and darkness and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of that feel and that aesthetic is rich in the universe.
That's what I feel like when I hear the dark elves. Is I think of like
Yeah.
like the dark vampire nightclub.
They're very
beats,
much like
you know what I
that
mean?
for
Like,
sure.
yeah.
Feeding off
Yeah.
others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
feeding
Yeah.
off life forces,
Yeah.
succubus style.
Everything's fucked and just trying not to die.
It's
Which
nice.
is cool. It's it's just super grim. It's super grim, which
Yeah.
is just really
That's really the
interesting.
catch. Everything's fucked and we're trying not to die.
Yeah, pretty. That's
That's a tagline.
okay. I think that's how you sum up 40K.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I
so I
think we
guess you
did
can
it.
talk about 40K in
What's
2
the
seconds.
timestamp? We figured it out.
73 minutes. So
Perfect. Not long at all. Perfect. We got there.
we got
With your guys' help, we got there. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I know always enjoy.
Do you guys feel
talking 40K.
enlightened? Do you
Yeah.
feel more educated?
I do feel like when people say, who are your Warhammer people? I'm like, I kind of understand what I could possibly say about it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so at the
okay.
start of this, we asked you about what your knowledge was in 40K. If you were to describe or to sum up what 40K is now, how would you do it? You start B.
It is an entire universe type situation based in year 40K.
Yes.
It includes any possible race, character, object, whatever thing.
Yep.
They all kill each other, and you're trying to survive. And there's a few gods in there and some spirits.
Close.
That's good enough.
Natalie,
I like
what do you
it.
think?
I like it.
Well, if
How'd you
I were to
describe it?
describe it, I would just say it's Let's Talk Lauren. You should check that out.
Actually, my friends have a podcast. Let me send you the link.
Let's talk Warhammer. Patreon.com/Let's Talk Warhammer. Let's all recruit to Let's Talk Warhammer. Let's all subscribe. Let's listen to the Superior
Big
podcast.
D's War.
Big D's Warhammer. See how much I trained her before this? How good is this?
That's nice. That's
Because
very
Mark
nice.
won't do it for me, you know.
No, you know what? You just don't
Well,
pay
he
me
doesn't
enough.
love you like I do.
But yeah, if you're sick of Mark's podcast, listen to mine. There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks for doing this with us, guys.
Yeah, it was perfect. It
That
was,
was
awesome.
fun.
What a
had
way
fun.
to kill an hour and a half.
40k ladies. Yeah, now you can play games and understand and not have those stupid looks in your eyes.
Okay, so if
When
you
we
were
said
to
Now I'm
build
not
an
a
army,
dumb wham.
what would you build?
If I were to build an army, I would build an army with a mixture of Mark's favorite,
The Croot.
the crew,
I like it already.
and the dark elves.
Yeah.
yeah.
I would do
Because
dog
I
elf.
feel
Definitely
like
converted to the Drakari.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Like
They're-
Drakari all the way.
They're my
Yeah.
favorite, and I love the
1000%.
idea. I don't know if this works, but I love the idea of the dark elves having the like Croot as like evil little pets.
Yeah,
They
like
eat
the
shit and
the Croot are
then they
mercenaries and they will
sacrifice
do that.
them.
Yeah.
They're like, eat that stuff.
All right, well, Christmas is
Sacrifice
coming up, and if
that.
you guys want us to partake, Christmas is coming up.
Okay, start
Drakari.
collecting box set Drakari. Perfect.
That was awesome. All right, that's
Cool.
Hey, that's a wrap. Well, thanks, people. How does Eric end these things? I don't know.
Usually it says listen to our podcast and
Our
you know,
podcast, Let's
climb-
Talk
We have
Lorehammer.
Instagram
Don't forget to be a
and-
Patreon to Let's Talk Lorehammer.
I don't think that's how Eric ends it.
I think that's
thought-
exactly
I don't even
how
know
it
if
ends
Eric
it.
knows Let's Talk exists.
Well, he was
Hard to
saying it
say.
wrong a lot on his.
Should correct him, yeah.
It was just so funny to hear him announce Let's Talk and he kept saying the name wrong.
Good times. Okay, well, I'm just gonna hit end, I guess.
Goodbye, everyone.